So, what are we doing today? Well, we're looking at dirt. Actually, specifically, we're looking at furrows and rows. The furrows are 18 inches apart and the rows are 30 inches wide. And this is a test plot for a future enterprise in crop marketing that I would do under a high tunnel with extended seasons. And I just want to experiment on a few different varieties and see what's capable of growing here. This dirt is more or less virgin dirt. It came from the bottom of the pond that I dug out in my previous videos that I mentioned. And the cat's probably going to make it her fancy litter box, because that's what cats do. But because all my soil here is highly compacted just because it's clay in nature in general. So, I mean, the good news is that everybody's capable of, whether it be in a planter or a little plot or a small garden bed, is capable of trying to supplement, if not produce, their own food source. The bad news is that the system that we've relied upon for so many years is very fragile. If you think about it, how many modalities of transportation and middlemen and workers and forklift drivers is between you and that head of lettuce or that can of tuna? Certainly, is it shipped out of state, from out of state or out of country even? And that number of people, the number of exchanges makes the system itself very fragile, as we've seen in the recent past when different factories were being shut down for either meat processing or shipping or getting goods off of containers at ports. So I would beg you to consider thinking about planting or beginning to learn how to plant things so that you can at least have that nice vegetable or fruit that you can eat, that you provided for yourself. It's really important to get those skill sets, and it's actually a very enjoyable endeavor. I mean, yes, it's not fun when you're unsuccessful and the seeds don't germinate, or an insect gets to your vegetable, or the plant wilts, and all those different things that go along with farming. That's what makes it rewarding, is that it's difficult. So those are just a few things to think about as we proceed into the new year. I know that I will have a supply of eggs in 6 months. I mean, even if half of those 22 chicks are roosters and the other half are hens, I will definitely have eggs, because really one person can get along with one hen just fine. And if you have 4, you can easily even supplement other people's groceries if you have 4 hens per person. So what does that dirt behind me have to do with being part of the 0.1% club? Well, it has everything to do with it, because that's the percentage of Americans that do gardens. And it's part of the reason why being an outlier is a good thing. It makes you self-sufficient, because there's only 1 to 2% of Americans that actually farm for a living, and they're huge, huge farms. And when they say, cattle come from family-raised farms, that's true up to a point, until it goes to the feedlot. And then from the feedlot it goes, to the big slaughterhouses. So yes, there's still a percentage of cattle farmers that are family owned and operated, but they contribute to this larger economic machine. And at some point with the real estate pressures, that may cease to exist. I heard that there's this crazy 21-story building where they're in China, where they're producing hogs, So those poor animals will never see anything. They probably won't see daylight. They'll just be in concrete for their whole entire lives. And I mean, talk about horrible, horrible existence. So, you know, I really hope that that's not part of our future here in America. But if we start importing those hogs, that's where it's coming from. It's coming from a skyscraper in the sky. And so that's not how I want to live. I hope it's not the way you want to live or contribute to that type of factory farming endeavor. So anyway, in 1945, 50% of Americans actually had gardens and farms. And now people are so removed that we don't even go into the grocery store, but we order online. Other people pick out our produce and deliver it to our cars or our door. And yes, that's a great convenience, but it again removes you. Now you're removing yourself one step further from the selection of the produce. So I personally have not made that choice. I want to select it out of my own garden and carry it to my own door. So I hope there's more like me. I hope there's a whole lot more outliers out there. Anyway, have a good day.